What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm doing something a little bit different this week. If you guys don't know, I am a MMA, UFC, boxing connoisseur. I love watching the fights, and I have decided I'm going to start doing a video every week on these fights. Now, if you guys don't like the fights, or if you do like the fights, please let me know down in the comments. I am telling you guys also, I'm doing a giveaway for every 1,000. I'll do 500. You know what? For every 500 likes this video gets, I will pick 2 comments down below to win a free month of VIP. So potentially, if this video, it has a lot more time to marinate. We got till the weekend. So we got almost 6 full days to let this marinate. So if you guys want a chance at free VIP, leave a like on the video, drop a comment down below. You do have to be a subscriber to win, so make sure you guys are doing that. And for every 500 likes, I will pick 2 people to win free VIP. And also, guys, like I said, I want to know if you guys want to see this kind of content. We got a huge MMA slate. Obviously, super excited about it. It's a very good slate. I have a long shot parlay. You guys know I love double ups. In this video, I have a plus 7,000 odd parlay, 75 bucks to win over 5 grand if you guys want to lock it in. I also have a nice little round robin I'm giving you guys for free, courtesy of our mod Thorism. If you guys don't know who Thorism is, Thor is our UFC/MMA mod. Dude cashes us out every single weekend. I've seen the dude sweep 3 or 4 weekends in a row. Literally one of the best guys to tell in terms of MMA style stuff. So highly recommend you guys join our Discord if you guys want to get all of our plays. All of our plays are down on our WAP. Links down in the description for that. If you guys do want to join, we'd love to have you a part of the community. But let's go ahead and jump into some of these fights. All right, guys, so jumping into the first fight of the video, we're going to be looking at Ariana De Silva versus Cong Wang. So looking at De Silva, she is currently sitting 17-10 versus Cong Wang, who is 7-1, coming off of her only loss from a rear naked choke. Now, she did get dropped with a straight left hand that led into the choke, but Cong Wang has looked really, really sharp in her striking. Looking at Ariana De Silva, I can't really say the most. I don't think De Silva can win this matchup on the feet. Now, let's look at the odds real quick, because the odds do not show how close this fight's going to be, in my opinion. So if you're looking at the odds right now, Ariana Lipski De Silva is plus 290 underdog versus Cong Wang, who is a minus 380 favorite. Now, Cong Wang is not a 380 favorite, in my opinion, on this fight. I do not think it's going to be dominant. Looking at Ariana Lipski at plus 290, that could be kind of a good line to play in terms of looking at value here. As a value play, I could definitely see a lot of people locking that in. Now, for me, what I ended up taking on Prizepicks was going to be our girl Wang Cong over 59.5 significant strikes. I think she's going to land a lot in this fight. I think it's going to stay standing. Ariana De Silva is not a super impressive grappler. She has got better. You can check on her Instagram and stuff. She has been taking has been doing a lot of jiu-jitsu classes, trying to get better in her grappling, but she's never been like a dominant ground and pound or grappling fighter. So I don't think she's going to come out here, dominate Cong Wang on the feet, or on the feet, or be able to take her down and dominate her on the ground. So looking at significant strikes, Cong Wang is averaging 6.38 significant strikes per minute, and she's absorbing 1.86. So very high volume and not really taking a ton of damage. If you look at the other side of things, De Silva averages 4.04 strikes per minute, and then she absorbs 3.87. So what I'm looking at here is that 3.87 absorbed strikes per minute, and then Cong Wang's 6.38 landed per minute, which means Ariana De Silva is probably going to get teed up on in terms of significant strikes. So I expect her to take a lot of damage. I expect this fight to go to distance. I don't think it's going to be a knockout. A lot of these girls, flyweight bouts especially, don't end in TKO. I could see some other fighters, obviously, with submission wins and stuff like that, but I don't think this one's going to go that way. I think it's going to go to the distance. I see Wang Cong or Cong Wang winning by decision, and I do think she obviously cashes the significant strikes line at 59.5 on Prizepicks. So if you guys want to lock in this slip, I have it pulled up. I've already I'm going to talk about something later with our man Sergey Spivac over 2.5 takedowns, but I'm giving you guys a free play right here, a little 5x play, which you guys can look at here in a little bit. So we're going to go in depth on these plays, but I am going to take Cong Wang over significant strikes and to win by decision, so over 2.5 rounds on this line if it gets dropped. Right now it's currently not on Bovada, which is where I play a lot of these lines, so we'll see what it ends up getting opened at, and you'll see some of these plays in the Discord if you're part of the Discord. So that's going to be my choice on this fight, is going to be Wang winning by decision and cashing her significant strike line. So jumping into our next fight, we have Khaos Williams taking on Andreas Gustafsson. So Khaos Williams is sitting at 15-4 with Andreas Gustafsson with an 11-2 record. This is a UFC debut for our man Gustafsson. He was supposed to fight last weekend. That fight ended up getting canceled, as well as Khaos Williams. Khaos Williams was supposed to fight Medic this weekend. That fight got canceled, so Andreas Gustafsson had to step up short notice. Short notice fight for both fighters, but if you look at this matchup, Khaos Williams was preparing for a very clean, tight kickboxing style fight, and now he's going up against the dirty boxer in Gustafsson. So that could obviously mess him up a lot. It also, looking at Gustafsson having to cut weight, that could be rough for him as well. But I do think he had enough time to where the weight cut's not going to be too bad for him. Obviously, Khaos Williams does have a reach advantage here, sitting with a 77-inch reach versus Gustafsson's 73.5. Both of these fighters are TKO fighters. Gustafsson has won 73 of his fights by KO/TKO, with Khaos Williams winning 57% of his by KO or TKO and another 36% by decision. Now, if I could take anything on this fight, I would take this fight to end in KO or TKO and not go in the distance. But that fight, or that prop, is not available right now. It'll be available closer to fight time, I think. But right now, Khaos Williams is sitting as a -200 favorite, and Gustafsson sitting at a +170 underdog. So don't love the odds on Khaos Williams here. He is a more seasoned veteran in the UFC, but he's nowhere near like top 15 potential in my opinion. He's got really, really good power. He could knock Gustafsson out in one punch, but same thing for Gustafsson. Gustafsson has a lot of power. He fights. He loves the brawl, and I expect him to have a pretty decent chin on him. I don't think he's gonna get one hit KO'd. We'll see what happens, man. This fight could go either way. It's hard to call in terms of money line. Right now at +170, I think Gustafsson was like +190 yesterday, so his odds have come down slightly, which obviously is a good sign for Gustafsson. I like Gustafsson at +170, but if I could take any prop on this, it would be taking the fight not to go the distance. Both fighters, like I said, high knockout potential. I am excited to watch this fight, and if I had to pick one, I'm going to take Gustafsson at the +170 odds on this one. So hopefully he does come out for us. I like Gustafsson. I think he's going to have a pretty decent career, and I do think he beats Khaos Williams tonight in a close and dirty fight, in my opinion. For our next fight, we have another interesting fight. We got Sergey Spivac versus Waldo Cortez Acosta. So this is a fight, another fight I'm really excited about, actually. I love these heavyweight fights. Most of them don't go the distance. Looking at Sergey Spivac, he is 17-5. Going against Waldo Cortez, who is 13-1. Spivac coming off of a loss, with Waldo coming off of a win. Spivac does have the slight reach advantage, or a pretty big reach advantage, 78 inches versus 70 inches for Cortez. We got two totally different fighters, which makes this fight incredibly valuable, in my opinion, for especially Waldo, who is right now 13-1. He's a top 15 fighter. Spivac is a top 10 matchup here. Is Waldo Cortez Acosta good enough to make it to the top 10? He will find out in this fight. So Spivac is a heavy submission grappler. He wins 41% of his fights by TKO and another 47% by submission. He's an extremely dangerous grappler. Triangle, arm bar, whatever he needs to do to win, he can get it done. And then he's going against the opposite. We're going against Waldo Cortez Acosta, who has a ton of knockout potential. He's a seasoned professional boxer coming out here. Obviously going to have the better striking, but Spivac is going to try his best to put him on the ground, beat him up, and submit him. So my thought for this fight is it's not going to go the distance. So looking at the current odds, Spivac is a -128 favorite right now, going against Cortez Acosta, who is a 107 underdog. So the fight is actually pretty close. I think Spivac opened up around -150 odds. So getting a little bit of love for our man Waldo. The under 2.5 rounds right now is minus 165, so that's probably going to be the prop that I lock in regardless of which side you're on here. You're probably going to take either Spivac to win by submission or Waldo to win by knockout. That's my opinion, especially with these heavyweight guys. I don't think it's going to go the distance. If it went the distance, I'd be extremely shocked. So I'm going to take this under 2.5 rounds total for our man Sergey Spivac versus Waldo. If I had to pick one for the money line, I'm kind of leaning Sergey Spivac on this one. I will say that one's another one that's hard to really call because I could see our man Waldo stuffing the takedown, coming out here, getting the knockout on Spivac. But like I said, this is going to be another test for our man Waldo. I think we're going to find out this weekend whether or not Waldo has what it takes to be a top 10 or top 5 fighter. If he comes out here, stuffs these takedowns, and absolutely manhandles Spivac or something, I think we're looking at potential title contender. For our next matchup, we have a lightweight bout with our man Salkilld versus Yanal Ashmouz. These names are going to kill me. So we're going to call him Salkilld and then Ashmouz. I'm just going to call him by their last name. So looking at Salkilld, 8-1 so far versus Ashmouz, who is also 8-1. Salkilld does have a massive reach advantage. He has a 75-inch reach versus the 68-inch reach of Ashmouz. He's also almost 6'1 versus Ashmouz's, who is claimed to be 5'9. I saw another guy say he looked really, really short and is probably shorter than 5'9, and honestly, they're probably correct about that. So Ashmouz definitely has the size disadvantage here. He's also going against a much more talented fighter, in my opinion, and the odds do reflect this. If you look at Salkilld is a minus 500 favorite almost. Let me find this. So yeah, minus 510 favorite versus Ashmouz plus 370. So these lines are juiced through the gills. Makes it almost impossible to play these money lines on these unless you're taking the underdogs. The over 2.5 rounds is minus 175 versus the under 2.5 plus 135. So I could see this fight going the distance. I could see Salkilld just having a dominant performance. He could also finish Ashmouz on the ground. I could see that. I do know Ashmouz is a tough guy. It's probably going to be hard to finish him, so I don't know that he's going to get this under 2.5 round stoppage. I think it does go the distance and does go the full 3 rounds. So that is another play you could take at +1 or at minus 170. Is that what it was? Let me find that again. Yeah, minus 175 odds for over 2.5, or it's the same thing as going the distance, which we'll also have more. Like I said, once these fights get closer to fight day, we'll have more props to choose from. I am going to be locking in this play live on Parlay Play in a minute. We're going to make another parlay for you guys to tell if you guys do want to see that. Make sure you stick around to the end. Salkilld, I like at over 55.5 significant strikes. I think he gets a lot of significant strikes. I think this fight does go the distance, leading to a good opportunity for that play. So we'll be locking it in here in just a little bit, which you guys will see. So that's going to be my pick for that one. It's going to be Salkilld to win by decision, or if you wanted to play his money line, you could do that. So that's what I'm going to lock in. So next we have Azamat Murzakanov versus Brinson Ribeiro. So Murzakanov is sitting 14-0 right now, going up against Brinson, who is 17-7. Both fighters are coming off of a win. Looking at Azamat, honestly, man, I could see a first-round knockout or a second-round knockout. There's not very good odds on this fight right now. Looking at the odds, Murzakanov is a minus 585 favorite. So a minus 600 favorite versus a plus 410 underdog. If Brinson Ribeiro comes out here and gets the win, obviously it's going to be a massive upset, but I don't see that. Now, the only disadvantage we're looking at right now for our man Azamat is the reach advantage. So Brinson has an 81-inch reach versus Azamat's 71.5, so almost a 10-inch reach disadvantage, which obviously Murzakanov is used to this. I don't think this is going to be anything new. I do think he comes out here. I think he's going to be a way better striker. And I think he's going to be able to keep the distance close and be able to come out with a knockout versus our man Brinson Ribeiro. So looking at this, looking at the under 1.5 total rounds. You got minus 165 odds on this one. I can't find anywhere right now that has a first round TKO or anything like that. You can probably get some pretty good odds closer to fight night on that, which I'll be locking in. But right now, Brinson Ribeiro and Azamat Murzakanov under 1.5 total rounds. I like that line at minus 165 odds, and I'll be locking it in. I'm going to lock in all these plays for a long shot parlay at the end, and we're going to put a unit on it, and we're going to see what we can come out with on terms of payout on this guy. So make sure you guys stick around to the end to get that long shot parlay, and we're going to lock it in together. All right, guys, so looking at another incredible matchup, we have Mario Bautista versus Patchy Mix. Both fighters on a massive win streak. Mario Bautista has not lost in 7 fights. He's on a 7-fight win streak. And then Patchy Mix hasn't lost since 2020, coming off an impressive win versus Magomedov. Now, looking at the odds on this fight, Patchy Mix is a minus 175 favorite versus Mario Bautista, who's a slight underdog at plus 150. Now, Patchy Mix is making a UFC debut, so this is a massive step up in competition versus Mario Bautista, and I could see Mario Bautista coming out here and taking that win at plus 150, so it's hard for me not to take Bautista at plus 150 odds in this matchup, but Patchy Mix is a favorite for the win for a reason. He has like 13 submissions in a row or something like that, or 13 submissions out of his last 20 fights, which he's 20-1. So 13 submissions, not 13 submission streak, but 13 submissions. And he's looked really, really good. So this fight's going to be tough to call. At plus money for Mario Bautista, I think that's where I'm going to lean to make our odds on our super parlay to be a lot better. So we're going to run with Mario Bautista on this one. If you want to take Patchy Mix at minus 175, I can see arguments for both. And maybe we hedge this bet. Maybe we play both fighters money lines in our parlay and just kind of split the units up, because this payout's going to be really big for this parlay anyway. So we'll see what happens. But I'm running with Mario Bautista at plus 150 odds just to win the fight overall if it goes to decision, or probably over 2.5 rounds, which is a decision win. But we'll see what kind of odds come up later on, closer to Saturday. And yeah, that's what I'm going to run with Mario Bautista at plus 150 odds on this fight in a tough matchup and a tough call versus Patchy Mix. So jumping into the main card, and honestly, one of my favorite fights on the card. We got Vicente Luque versus Kevin Holland. Literally one of my favorite fights. So Vicente Luque, 23-10 versus Kevin Holland, who was 27-13. Both fighters coming off of wins. Holland does have a significant reach advantage at an 81-inch reach versus Luque's 75.5. Both fighters are around the same age. I think Luque is 33 and Kevin Holland's 32, something like that. Now, this fight is tough. It's tough to call. Looking at the odds on this fight, they have Kevin Holland as a minus 275 favorite, and then Luque as a plus 225 underdog. This fight is minus 175 to go over 1.5 rounds, and then plus 135 to go under 1.5 rounds. I could see this fight being a knockout, but I could also see it going to decision. This fight is kind of tough to call in my opinion, but I'm leaning towards Kevin Holland on this one. I've seen Vicente Luque in a lot of wars. He always puts on a show. His striking is phenomenal. I don't see him taking down Kevin Holland and just beating him and ground and pound. I think this fight stays standing unless Holland decides to take it down. Holland does have a long reach. He has heavy hands. I can see him knocking out Luque. Luque has been chinned quite a few times. He's been through some brutal knockouts and some heavy wars. I could see this one being another one of those. I could see Luque getting stopped in the first or second round, but I could also see this one going to the decision. So what I'm leaning towards on this one is Kevin Holland to win, just to win the fight overall, so minus 275. Now, if you parlay this with other plays, obviously the odds aren't going to be that bad. It is a little bit juiced at minus 275. I don't like playing minus 300-ish favorites, especially in fighting, just because this is, I mean, anything can happen in the sport of MMA and boxing. Any fighter can get chinned. We've seen it happen to heavy favorites before. I don't think that's going to happen to Kevin Holland, but I do think Vicente Luque puts up a fight. I think we have a nice fight to watch. I think it's going to be extremely entertaining. I do think it does end in a stoppage or a decision win with our man Kevin Holland taking this fight. So jumping into what might be my favorite fight on the slate. I'm a big Sugar Sean fan. I enjoy watching him fight, but when Kelvin Gastelum gets in the octagon, you always get a good fight. And Gastelum is fighting Joe Pyfer this weekend. Gastelum is sitting 20-9. Pyfer sitting 13-3. Both fighters coming off of a win. Gastelum just beat Daniel Rodriguez in his last match, but he is fighting a killer this weekend. Pyfer, I think, has just as good of striking capabilities as Gastelum. Both fighters put up around the same amount of significant strikes per minute, right at 3.72. Both taking around the same amount of significant strikes per minute at 3.48. So this fight's going to be on the feet. It's going to be a good striking matchup, I think, but Looking at the advantage here, I think Joe Pyfer has the advantage. He's the younger fighter. He has a longer reach by almost 4 inches. So looking at Gastelum, he has a 71.5-inch reach versus Pyfer's 75 inches. I do think Pyfer's also a more explosive fighter. I think he has a lot more knockout power than Gastelum, making him much more lethal. And I think he comes out here and I think he gets the first ever KO win over Kelvin Gastelum. So looking at the odds here, Gastelum is plus 295 underdog. Pyfer is a massive minus 390 favorite. Running the money line on Pyfer is probably not the best bet on this one. I don't think this fight's going to go the distance. So looking at the odds on the fight going under 2.5 rounds, minus 105. So you got some really good odds at minus 105 for this not going the distance. I do think Pyfer, like I said, gets the first knockout ever on our man Kelvin Gastelum, which I'm a huge Gastelum fan. I love watching him fight, like I said. But I do think Joe Pyfer's just too explosive and too much younger to come out here and lose to Gastelum in this one. So you can run Pyfer at minus 390 if you want to parlay it, or you can run him at under 2.5 rounds. I think either of those are good good takes. I'm not saying I think Gastelum gets knocked out in the first round or anything, because I could see him lasting to the second round. But I do think he loses this fight, and I think he loses in a rough manner versus our man Joe Pyfer. So that's why I'm taking Joe Pyfer with the minus 390 money line or under 2.5 rounds. Jumping into the co-main event of the evening, we have Juliana Pena and Kayla Harrison. Now, this fight is what I think is going to be kind of a brutal beatdown on the champ. So Juliana Pena is the current champion. Her odds right now are plus 460. Now, I do think she's a live underdog. I think Pena could come out here and get the upset, but in my honest opinion, it's not going to happen. Kayla Harrison right now is a minus 675 favorite, and that is for good reason. She only has 1 loss in her entire career. She's bigger than Pena. She's stronger. She has way better wrestling. She should be able to dominate on the mat. I think she's out here. I think obviously these title contenders are the ones who are thirsty enough and hungry enough to come out there and get the win. A lot of the times champions do get a little bit complacent. I'm not saying Juliana Pena is complacent by any means. That's definitely not what I'm saying. I do think she's still hungry as a champion. But I think Kayla Harrison is just like the next big women's superstar. I think she's coming out here. I think she wins in dominant fashion. And I think at minus 675, you really just can't not take her. And I know the odds are extremely juiced. It makes it really, really hard to bet. There are more lines up right now. You can take the over or under 4.5, 3.5 rounds. The fight go to distance, no or yes. But honestly, for that, I'm not. For this particular fight, I'm just going to run with Kayla Harrison on the parlay for a win at minus 675 odds. Like I said, it's juiced. It's hard to play this. You definitely would not straight bet this one, but I just think she dominates. I think she comes out here and wins. Female stoppages are hard to get sometimes, so I don't really trust the stoppage on this one, but I do trust the win, and I trust the win in dominant fashion. So Kayla Harrison is my pick, minus 675 odds, locking her in on our parlay of the day. Jumping into the main event of the evening, we have Merab Dvalishvili versus Sugar Sean O'Malley. So Merab is obviously the current champion. His odds right now are minus 280 favorite. Sugar Sean a plus 230 underdog, which is absolutely crazy. This fight is minus 300 to go the distance. So obviously they don't think this fight's going to be a finishing fight. That being said, if Sugar Sean wins this fight, it's going to be by TKO, in my opinion. I do not think Sugar Sean's going the distance and winning this fight in the distance. Merab is a punishing wrestler. He had he has the record with 49 takedown attempts in one fight. The dude is going to attempt to take Sugar Sean down, and he's going to attempt to take him down again, and he's going to continue to attempt to take Sugar Sean down until he gets him down and can punish him on the mat. Now, obviously, O'Malley's game plan in this fight is going to be just to keep it standing. That's O'Malley's. It's always his game time. He's an incredible striker, an elite striker. He has knockout potential from every element on his body. He can elbow, he can knee, he can kick, he can punch. I'm a huge O'Malley fan. I would love for O'Malley to win this fight, but I can't let myself get too emotional in this fight because I don't realistically think O'Malley's going to win this fight. I don't think he's going to be able to stuff 50 takedowns in one fight. I don't think he's going to knock Merab out in the first couple of rounds, and I think Merab's cardio is just too good. We've seen Dvalishvili have some of the best cardio in the UFC. He could probably go 10 rounds if he wanted to, and that being said, I think he's going to come out here and I think he's going to put the pressure on O'Malley. I think it's going to be too much pressure for O'Malley to continue to keep this fight standing. So I have Merab winning by decision at minus 280 or 280 money line or whatever. Looking at the other bets on this that we can take, you can take Merab to over 1.5 rounds, minus 1,600, which is obviously juiced. Will this fight go to distance is minus 260. That's probably what I'm going to take with Merab winning. So that's what I like for this fight. It's hard to go against my man Sugar Sean. Like I said, Sugar Sean O'Malley could come out here with his explosiveness. He could obviously get the upset win and get the belt. Obviously, he's hungry. I would love to see O'Malley win, but I don't think it's in his cards this Saturday. And I think our man Dvalishvili gets it done with some ground and pound style wrestling. All right, guys, to end this video, I wanted to give you my favorite picks in order of which fights that I like the most, and then I want to show you guys the slips that we've locked in so far for this MMA slate. Now, what I want to say, guys, is over half of these fights are heavy favorites. They're minus 350 or worse. Some of these lines are incredibly wide, and the fights are kind of hard to pick here. So it's going to be the strategy of this card is to mainly play favorites and smaller parlays for plus money odds. Now, that being said, I am doing some really big long shot parlays right here, and I don't recommend putting a lot on these guys. These are going to be incredibly hard to hit. You're going to have to call the whole slate right for pretty much for these to hit. So that's probably not going to happen. I am going to hedge the Bautista and the Patchy mix fight because I'm torn on which one I like the most. So I'm going to hedge that one, and I'm probably going to hedge O'Malley as well. Probably take O'Malley for some type of win or something like that as well. So what's going to happen is the end of the week, there's going to be a lot more plays to choose from on these. So it's going to be better to get your actual confident parlays locked in later on this week. You can get a lot better odds, a lot better value. Or I'm not going to say a lot better odds, but a lot better props to get better value, if that makes any sense. So anyways, my favorites to win in order. The number one is going to be Cong Wang. She's my favorite to win. I think she comes out here and wins in dominant fashion. Second, close behind Cong Wang is going to be Kayla Harrison. Kayla Harrison is a monster. I really expect her to come out here and make this look easy. I almost like her better than Cong Wang. That one's kind of a toss-up. So really like those two plays. I like Murzakanov next. He's number 3 for my favorites to win. Number 4 is Pyfer. Pyfer, I told you guys I liked him for a knockout. Now, I could see Kelvin Gastelum coming out here and surviving and making it to the decision because, Gastelum has a chin on him, dude. One of the best chins in the UFC. We've already seen it time and time again. But as we've also seen is sometimes these chins get cracked in fights, and then all it takes is one more fight for them to get cracked and they actually go down. So I did put a little bit on that, thinking that maybe Kelvin does go down with a knockout, but I do like Pyfer to win the decision as well on that one. So like that one. Then I like Salkilld as my 4th favorite or 5th favorite, and then you, which we didn't talk about that pick, but Yo is my 6th favorite pick. So in order, once again, Cong Wang, Kayla Harrison, Murzakanov, Pyfer, and Salkilld. So those are my favorite plays. Lock them in if you like them, fade them if you don't. I got these plays pulled up on the screen right now, so I got them popping up. You guys can see we got 2 long shot parlays. The only difference on these parlays is one of them has Patchy mix and the other one does not. The other one has Bautista. Shoot, man, I'm struggling. But have Bautista in the other one. So it's the same exact parlay, just Bautista. You guys can lock them in. You can see all the plays. We already went over all the plays for the most part. And then my round robin 3-man over here on Prizepicks. We have Sergey Spivac over 2.5 takedowns. Told you guys I think he gets 2.5 takedowns. He's going to try to take this fight to the ground. I think Waldo is going to be able to stand up, and I think he's going to get taken right back down and get kind of wrestled back down. So I like Sergey Spivac for a win, and then I like him for 2.5 takedowns. This line's probably going to get bumped to 3. At 3, I would not play this line. The next one we have is Salkilld over 55.5 significant strikes. I've already talked about this one. I think this fight stays standing for the most part. I could see Salkilld taking him down. I don't think Ashmouz is going to be able to take Salkilld down, honestly. I think Salkilld is going to dominate this fight, and I think he gets at least 56 significant strikes. And then I paired him with Wang Cong over 59.5 significant strikes once again. So I think Wang Cong keeps it standing. I think she strikes the heck out of Ariana De Silva tonight or this Saturday night. And I really like these plays. So I played these in a round robin, which means I played the 3-man here, and then I played these in 2-man combination. I took Spivac and Salkilld in the slip, Spivac and Cong in a slip, and then Salkilld and Cong in a slip. And that's what I did. So you guys can lock them in any way you want. Once again, make sure you guys join our Discord. Link is down in the description. Join our WAP to get all the rest of these MMA plays. Let me know if you guys like this MMA breakdown. I know a lot of people will probably come for NBA and stuff like that, but I really like MMA. It's one of my favorite sports. So I'm probably going to continue to do these anyway. So make sure you guys leave some love. Leave a like for a chance at free VIP. And I'll see you guys Sunday after this slate, and hopefully we hit one of these long shot parlays.